Hey, what's up, everyone? Ben Lyons here. Welcome to The Lab. We're really excited to bring you The Lab. It's the flagship show from Champ Media. Shouts out to the great Jake Butt, a Michigan man, one of the great tight ends in the history of the program, who was the previous host of this show. So I am honored to be taking the baton here from Jake at The Lab. We are very excited to be providing you, the Michigan fan, with a home for the leaders and best. What is The Lab? It's the show that's all about the Michigan brand, the players who built it, all the great student athletes who have come through Ann Arbor and have made their legacy and stake their claim as part of the Michigan tradition. And us as fans, obviously, have been so fortunate over the years to get to see so many great teams take the field, take the court, take the field of battle, if you will. But yeah, this is really a thrill for me as somebody who grew up a diehard Michigan fan. I was obsessed with the Fab Five. I had the big shorts, the black socks, the whole thing. And the fact that years later, I can sit here and call many of those guys my friends and even my family is very surreal and an honor I don't take lightly. I was a student at the University of Michigan. I lived in Markley, lived on South Forest. I was there during what I like to call the John Navarre years at quarterback. But this is not just a football show. The Lab is a home, of course, for student athletes, both currently at the school, those who have long said goodbye to Ann Arbor, but continue to play at a high level, either professionally or, in another area of business or leadership. And we really want to help fans understand what it's like to be a student athlete now in the NIL era. We connect legacy with opportunity. This is the show all about how the Block M can just open up doors for you for the rest of your life. And I'm living proof of that. So I'm very excited to get started here, week one of The Lab. I want you to be able to subscribe to The Lab. You can do it on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff. We are everywhere thanks to Champ Media. It's a really exciting time, obviously, on campus with the football season starting and with student athletes returning for another great year in Ann Arbor. So we're going to be talking to basketball players, volleyball players, soccer players, track stars, you name it. This is a home for all things Michigan sports and a place for you, the Michigan fan, to get up close and personal with the student athletes who go out there and compete and lay it all on the line. So very excited to be bringing you The Lab. Again, my name is Ben Lyons. Be sure to subscribe, follow us on all the platforms. We'll have new episodes dropping each and every Wednesday. So let's get right into it. Let's get right to our first guest here in The Lab, Davis Warren. A lot of you might be familiar with Davis's story coming out of Manhattan Beach, California. This is an incredible young man who has really overcome a lot, both on the field and off. He battled leukemia throughout his high school years, was able to get healthy and walk on to the University of Michigan, which is just an incredible feat unto itself, let alone beating cancer to do it. He was a member of Team 144 that won the national championship and then went on to start 9 games for Team 145 last season. He completed 64% of his passes. He had 7 touchdowns. Of course, he was 13-19 against little brother, Michigan State, with a touchdown as well, leading them to victory. And of course, the game at Ohio, which is something that will forever make Davis Warren a Michigan legend. I mean, think about this. The Wolverines are 20-point underdogs going into the shoe. Nobody thought they were going to show up, let alone win the game. And Davis was solid in that game. He made the plays when it mattered most. They beat Ohio 13-10. Anytime you can run up a 4th straight victory against your rival and you're the starting quarterback, I mean, that's the stuff of legends, and you think about the game of life or where this kid came from, and to have that moment in Ohio last year is something that he'll obviously remember the rest of his life. We'll always remember it as Michigan fans. So really proud of that performance. And then he went on, of course, to go 9 of his first 12 against Alabama with a touchdown down before facing a devastating injury. He's back now on campus. He's a member of the team this year, but is obviously, contributing in a different type of way. And I think that, to me, is really what the lab and what being a, leader and best is all about, is that he's never made it about himself. Maybe, another kid would have transferred somewhere else, and maybe tried to find a way back onto the field in another uniform. But Davis is here and he's contributing however he can. And whether it's as a backup, as a starter, in the quarterback room, mentoring, the next great quarterback at Michigan, he's willing to do it if it means being a part of the team. So I've got great admiration for him. He's a tremendous young man, as you'll see in our conversation, a true Michigan man. So very honored to have Davis Warren joining us here on the Lab. Check it out. All right, Davis, you joined the program in 2021. Everyone knows you're a walk-on from Manhattan Beach, California. And since then, Michigan has reached 3 straight college football playoffs. You've won a national championship and you've beaten Ohio. Not 1, not 2, not 3, 4 years in a row. I guess you're the lucky charm for Michigan football, huh? Is that the deal?
I guess so. I mean, coming here, I wasn't a big Michigan fan growing up. Sorry, hand up on that one, being from Southern California. But I didn't know kind of the history of the program as much and kind of some of the struggles in the last, 10, 15 years, and not the standard that this program wanted to be at. And to come in 21 and see the leaders really step up after that kind of horrific 2020 season and just the change in culture. When I came in, I felt like we were a championship team, and I don't think that's changed at all through kind of the ups and downs of, last year, or 2 years ago, or 3 years ago. It's been super consistent. So just an honor to be a part of it.
Well, it's great to have you on this episode of The Lab. I want to go back in time a little bit. A day that is one of over 2,000 plus now since Ohio's beaten Michigan, and that's last year at the Horseshoe. Take us through that famous walkout now. It feels like the Roman Coliseum walkout has become a thing. Where were you during that video, and just what was it like to be in that moment?
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. I mean, those moments, those opportunities, that's what you dream about. That's what you want to be a part of when you're a kid. I think we take some pride in going on the road. Coach Harbaugh used to say, make their music our music. And I think that started in 21 when we were jumping around in Wisconsin, and has continued every single year as we went on these road games to a lot of tough environments. And nothing changed when we went to Columbus. I felt like we were prepared. I'd been there in 22 when we got a win, and Coach Harbaugh said then, like, the sound of silence in that stadium, there's no better sound. And there was no better sound when we silenced them, I think, throughout the game, whether it was that first third down, picking that up on 3rd and 12, backed up on our own end to kind of get us moving a little bit and flip field early in the game, or at the end when we took the knee to win the game. That was some pretty sweet sounds, and but you definitely felt the energy of the stadium and the energy of the rivalry in that first walkout.
How silent was it on 3rd and 8 when you see Peyton O'Leary and you see him and he go for 18 yards? What a catch. He's your roommate. He's another walk-on. Like, you could hear a pin drop in the Horseshoe. Walk us through that play.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. We had a kind of a man answer called, and Peyton wasn't really in the progression at all. I was trying to go front side, I think to Samaj, and he kind of got held up at the line. Obviously they had a great defense, and we knew we were going to have to make some plays, do some things outside of the structure of the offense on 3rd down. And, I kind of knew, Sawyer liked to make that inside move. And so once I kind of felt that, I knew I had to get out and make a play. And, once I kind of got out of the pocket, I kind of saw Kalel and the DB kind of trailing him, and it would have been a tough throw. And I kind of knew as Peyton was going down the sideline that he was going to snap back for me and get open and just put a ball out there and hoping he could make a catch. And when he did to move the chains, that was a pretty special moment. And looking back on it, I remember the first time we went and threw out together and on the outdoor field at Schembecker Hall, and all the journey together, whether it was on scout team as a freshman and then playing together a little bit as sophomores and a little bit as juniors, and then for that to happen was really incredible. I think just a lot of those 3rd down conversions, in that fourth quarter to keep the time of possession was huge, and credit to the whole offense for just making plays when we needed them.
Speaking of Khalil, speaking of third down conversions, when you see him bounce to the outside for that crazy run, like walk us through from your point of view what that feels like to see your teammate just bust one open.
That was awesome. He was, it was kind of one of those situations where, hey, maybe it's third and medium and we're kind of in Zavada's range at that point. And so, try to preserve 3 points, especially at that point in the game. And so kind of like the play call to get a run and kind of split something on him. And, obviously Khalil made a great play. It's something that will be remembered forever. I saw him a couple weeks ago in the facility before he was heading down to training camp, and we were, reminiscing about it. And it's just such an awesome moment for a guy he's given his all to Michigan, and for it to pay off like that. And the whole offense and the whole team was just really special.
So my dad was a field goal kicker at the University of Pennsylvania. He often says nothing strikes fear in the heart of an opponent like a mascot, like a Quaker, a pacifist movement.
My sister's a Quaker, so I can a UPenn Quaker, not an actual Quaker. So,
but he was all right. So you get it, right? So he was a So he was a field goal kicker in college, and this is a long time ago. So he kicked straight on. He had like the square shoe, right?
That's awesome.
So anytime we're watching football at any level in college or the pros, and the guys obviously kick soccer style now, he always kind of rolls his eyes and says, "Oh, come on, kick it straight on," right? Yeah. But with Dominic Zvada, he watches him kick soccer style, he gets a pass. He's like, I can watch that guy kick the new way and it's totally fine, right? How dominant is he? Like, just what a weapon that is to have on your team. He was so clutch in that Ohio game. I mean, the guy's probably the best kicker in the country and would be one of the best kickers in the NFL right now. I mean, you've probably seen him make some insane kicks in practice, but what was it like to watch him make that kick in Ohio?
It was huge. I'm glad we gave him an easy one. I really had no doubt that he was going to make it, which was nice. And he's just so consistent. He's a great guy. His locker's right next to mine, so we've got pretty close and good buddies, talking golf or talking whatever. And he's just a great kid and loves Michigan. Is just about his business. And I think that breeds trust when you see his work ethic and what he does every day, his routine. The specialists are always kind of off to the side in practice doing their own thing, as I'm sure your dad's talked about at one point or another. And he's always so detailed in his approach, and being able to appreciate that. And then in a hostile environment like that, being able to come in clutch was super incredible. And like I said, the silence in that moment was one of the best. Might not have been the best of that bowl, but one of the best for sure.
As a fan, when you're watching college football, oftentimes you kind of hold your breath when the kicker's out there. Now for Michigan, historically, they've had some great kickers, and it's just so awesome to watch that guy do his thing. A lot of people might not know this, but you're a big golfer. I had the chance to meet you on the golf course at the start of the season.
Yes.
And to then go through that season of ups and downs, both personally and as a team, like, dude, you beat Ohio in Ohio. They had one passing yard in the fourth quarter. Like, you are forever cemented as a legend in Ann Arbor. Walk me through what it was like to get back to campus, the annual tradition of you guys going to the hockey game, and it's just like it must have been insane.
Yeah, it was really awesome. It's something definitely hold near and dear. I still have that football from when I took the knee, held onto that tight through the whole post-game ordeal, and that's something that, I'll never forget. But I will remember it, like, truly. I know the line is the team, but it really was a group effort. I mean, the defense making plays, the O-line really playing well when we needed them. Obviously, Khalil, like you said, Marlon, even Hogan, Hansen stepping up when Colston was out. Like, guys like that, just, something where in that week of practice, going into the game, like I told the guys, I said, hey, if you think you can and you think you can't, you're probably right. So let's think we can every single snap, put our head down and think that way every single play. And then at the end of the four quarters, lift our heads up and we just might be in the position that we want to be in to go win the football game. And that was the case. It wasn't all perfect. They were a really good football team, no doubt. But being 4-0, looking to go 5-0 this year is that's going to be hard to beat.
2,100 and some. I've lost count of how many days at this point, you know. And what's so impressive, though, and what people don't understand, I think, in sports is there's such anticipation for that game. Obviously, it's a huge accomplishment to go on the road and beat them in their place. And like you said, you know, the whole thing. But then you got to come down and then prepare for Alabama, like to go play them again in the RealiQuest Bowl or, you know, whatever bowl name it was. You're playing Alabama again in the crazy weather and just the team's mindset. Like as a leader on the team, how difficult is it to not have a letdown after such a big monumental win against Ohio?
Yeah, I think, you know, it's kind of like a double-edged sword a little bit because you get that win over Ohio State, you're riding a high. And then, you know, obviously, you know, in the past we've got to Indianapolis to play in the Big Ten title game, and then you flip around and you know, you're sitting on your couch watching that game and watching and feeling like, man, we should have been there, and we should have been with a chance to win 4 straight Big Ten titles. And so that kind of left, honestly, a little chip on my shoulder, I felt like, and I think a lot of guys have like, oh man, we should have been there a little bit, and still feeling like we had something to prove as a team of like where we deserve to be versus where we were. And obviously, you know, not saying we should have been in the playoff or anything like that, but just felt like we fell short of some of our goals, no doubt, and had some things we regretted. And so we wanted to finish the season on our terms. And I think that's something that I stress to the guys because you do really have that weird window of 3 weeks of practice leading into the Alabama game, and it's maybe easy to get a little bit, you know, it's Coach Harbaugh used to call it the December malaise, where like you kind of get, it's gray out, it's cold, you know, everyone's kind of leaving campus, so you know, it's, you know, not in the same routine of going to class and all that stuff, and you feel like you got 20 practices before the game, even before you get down to Tampa. But I think we really just stayed focused. And I think it showed. We were the more prepared team, and yeah. And when then you got to the game, and it's sunny the whole week leading up to the game. It's sunny in warm-ups, and then, you know, I think we got the ball, and boom, it just starts downpouring. I don't know if you were there or not, but it was. I haven't spent a lot of time in Florida. I spent some time in the Northeast in the summer, even here where it rains pretty hard for 10, 15 minutes, and then kind of lightens up. But I've never seen rain that hard. I don't know, in my life. So, and you're playing on the grass field, and it's just like you step down and like your whole cleat is just covered in water. And it was definitely a unique challenge for us. I don't know if we did much wet ball work that week, and so we were kind of we were fighting uphill a little bit, and both teams were fighting uphill, and we just were able to truly like weather the storm a little bit better and score some points. Even when we really you couldn't throw the ball, you could barely even catch the ball to hand it off. And, you know, to come out with a win, another win was against another ranked team was really awesome.
So is that you playing DJ for the team, dropping the Chief Keef to get everybody fired up for the game?
Absolutely not. That is not me. Will never be me. I'm not the DJ at all. I don't think my music taste really aligned with the general consensus of the team, but that's okay. I'm cool with whatever the guys want to play. I'm easy going.
Hey, whatever you guys are doing, it's working, because that touchdown pass to Fred Moore was maybe the best throw and catch of the season. Walk me through the play and just what that felt like to connect with him.
Yeah, it was great. Fred, you know, kind of, you know, he's super talented guy, and, you know, really excited to see him kind of break out this year, and was kind of coming into his own last year. And yeah, I think, you know, I think it was 3rd and 7 on the 10-yard line or the 12-yard line, which isn't a great down and distance. You know, kind of never want to get stuck in those situations, especially down in the low and mid red. And he had just kind of a man coverage look and knew he had an opportunity and liked the matchup and tried to give him a chance as it was hailing rain. And he made a great play on the ball, no gloves at all, old school, and was able to corral it in and do his little dance after. So it was a really fun moment.
All right, so you guys beat Alabama twice in a calendar year. You beat Ohio for the 4th time in a row. You do it with Coach Harbaugh. You do it with Coach Moore. You've played for both these guys now. What are some similarities between their approaches, and then what are a few things that they do differently? Something tells me that Coach Moore is not eating a steak every day, calling it a vitamin, and not drinking whole milk and all that stuff.
Yes, no whole milk in the meetings. Yeah. But in terms of similarities, just that team first mentality. Whatever the team needs them to do on that day for us to be successful, they will do. So if it's explaining to one of our quarterbacks the proper mechanics of an under center snap, or Coach Moore, especially with the O-line, getting super involved lately with them, or Coach Harbaugh, getting really involved with the quarterbacks, or whatever it may be, or giving a little anecdote of their playing career, or kind of a little nugget of Michigan history, or history that they've had as a coach, to kind of give us some inspiration going into that day. A lot of similarities in that perspective, and always looking for little ways for the team to improve how we do things, around practice, and really stressing, prehab and nutrition, and taking advantage of all the resources that we have in the facility. Those are the obvious similarities. I think differences, Coach Moore's a little younger, maybe a little, more in tune with the younger generation. Obviously, Coach Harbaugh's got his own little quirks that I always loved, but Coach Moore does a great job relating to the players, and kind of, just having a good pulse for the team. I think he's done a really good job of that. Obviously, as a first-time head coach, that's not easy to do, and I think he's done a really good job maintaining that from offensive coordinator to head coach. And not that Coach Harbaugh didn't do that, but Coach Harbaugh definitely was, had a lot more experience as a head coach, so he kind of knew his ways and whatnot. But Coach Moore's done a great job, and I think it's credit to him, like the way we stuck together at the end of that season when times weren't the easiest and it would be easy to just kind of fall apart. He kind of rallied us, and we had Desmond Howard come speak to us, a week or two ago, and he really touched on that. Like, that's the Michigan way, because Coach Moore really talks about this a lot too. So I don't know if he paid Desmond to tell him that, but just the history of Michigan football and what you're playing for. And he challenged all of us to look up the players who've worn your number in the past, do research on those guys, get a sense for, what they've done, what success they had as players, what they're doing now, stuff like that. So every Michigan football alumni is watching this team really closely, and they were proud of the way that we responded late in the season, and I think that's a real credit to him.
So you take in all the success from last year, you take in, obviously, the history of the program like you talk about, and now you put it into Team 146. What can you tell me about this group? What are you excited about? And how do you see yourself fitting in and contributing to, the next run and the next chapter in Michigan football?
Yeah, I think, obviously every team has a unique identity, and this team has its own identity from last year's team. And I think, got some real senior leaders coming back on defense, which is awesome, and kind of that same identity that Coach Martindale has established in those guys, that they're a pain in the butt to deal with every day in practice, every day in the game, every day, obviously in the games, they're 11-man wrecking crew, but in practice, they're a challenge, and they force us to really be dialed in every single day, bring our best, because they're going to bring their best. And I think as an offense, Coach Lindsey's done an incredible job bringing his own flair, his own mentality, his own schemes to this program, and really just lifting everybody up as an offense, which is, I think, what we needed. And I'm super excited to see it pay dividends. I think guys are playing super fast, playing smart, making really good plays. Whether it's the O-line, the running backs, especially in the receiver room and the tight end room, and that helps the quarterbacks and helps them play fast and trust and make good decisions. And I think it's going to be really show itself, coming here in the next couple of weeks as we get close to game day.
So I know you're dealing with some injuries and some health stuff. How you feeling? What's going on with your journey? And when can we expect to see you maybe on the field, or just how you doing right now? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm coming along. Obviously, sucks to end the year like that. Sitting on an MRI table in Tampa, and then getting the news a couple hours later that about the worst news you could think of in terms of an ACL. And when you hear a pop in your knee, your mind automatically goes to that worst thing. And
you knew right away. You feel like you're like,
no,
this is not right.
I actually was pretty convinced that I didn't hurt that it wasn't my ACL because I'm a pretty optimistic guy. So it's kind of just like, nope, I'm not going to accept it until I hear it from somebody who's smarter than me. And they weren't totally sure in the, in the test. And so they obviously wanted to confirm with an MRI and kind of went right after the game and got that done in Tampa, and then kind of got the news that night that it was the ACL. So I think everything from that point forward is just we've really been dialed in and according to plan. I got my surgery done out in LA by a great doctor and had a really good rehab guy out there who's been helping me out with some of my rehab. And obviously the people here at Michigan do a great job. So just been dialed into all that, really making a lot of progress. I don't have an exact timetable yet for return. It is a 9 to 12 month injury. So yeah, you can kind of do the math yourself, but hopefully in these next couple of weeks, some more lab testing and should have a more concrete timeline. But been out running, been moving around well, throwing a pretty good amount. And that's been, I really felt like I've turned a corner in the last month or so of it's been feeling a lot better, feeling like I can move around. And, I'm not thinking about it all the time like I was. But, those first couple months are tough, especially in spring ball when you're not out there. Even more tough when, Coach Lindsey, I've told him this, he's come in and really done some awesome things to the offense. And I'm like, man, I'm jealous that the other quarterbacks could be out there cutting loose because that looks like a lot of fun. So that was tough, but it's been fun to learn, really mentor the young guys. But I still want to play, and I got plenty left to give. I got more eligibility left, and so I'm going to do everything I can to get back on the field and get back and, whatever it is during this season, get back and be a part of the team and hopefully contribute at some point, if my number's called.
Well, I'm feeling hopeful for you and confident for you because as we were getting mic'd up here, you were talking golf, and I know you've been hitting the golf ball a little bit. So that's a good sign. That means we're getting in the right direction.
That made me feel a little bit better when I could. Yeah. Putting gets pretty tired pretty quickly. So
yeah. Well, I'm usually the long one off the tee in the group, but I don't often get to play with a guy in his 20s who's a Division I star at Michigan, and to see you hit a golf ball, it's just like another level of the video game. At what age did you start to get nasty on the golf course?
I grew up. My dad's a pretty good big golfer. It's big in his side of the family. My grandpa was a really good player, so but my grandpa was also he played two sports at Tulane, actually. Was a pitcher and played on the basketball team. So he was kind of a stud and then turned into an incredible golfer. And I'm kind of hoping to follow that path to some extent. Obviously, I want to play football for as long as I can. That's my first love, but I also do love golfing, and it's a great opportunity for me to just compete. And
it's the only game you think you can get better at as you get older, even if you don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Still that hope in front of you.
And I need that. I need that in my life, and just the competitive spirit, really with yourself at all times when you're out there, and the game of misses that it is I love it, and I love working on it. I love practicing. I love tinkering with my game. And I played so many sports growing up. I didn't really focus on golf that much. I just kind of go with my dad and drink smoothies and drive the cart around. And then as I kind of played less and less sports, I just had more time to golf because you can only do so much football, obviously. And, less other club sports and travel stuff. And just, I played soccer until my sophomore year of high school. And then kind of once I stopped that and then was really just focused on football, it was really just football and golf. And then since I've been in Michigan, obviously the U of M course is an incredible place to go play, and a lot of incredible golf in the state of Michigan. I didn't even realize that I've had an incredible opportunity to go play at. And and it stays light till 10 p.m., which is also a plus. So spend a lot of late summer evenings after, morning workouts and throwing sessions, getting out there and playing 9 holes with my buddies and Peyton and Max and those guys. So, we've had some good golfers in the program, like JJ Colston, just some guys. I remember Jake Thaw, Andy Maddox was a big buddy of mine. JD Johnson, who was a former quarterback recruit turned coach. So we got a pretty good stable of guys we play with, and it's always fun to get a game.
So I don't know if you know this, but at the Champ Media golf outing, when we asked all the guys, like, who do you want to play with? Who's the best golfer on the team? Like, you were the unanimous choice. Everybody was saying, okay, Davis is the guy. So if you're the number one spot in the foursome and you're trying to put together a dream team in a scramble for Michigan golf, and like Coach Harbaugh would have spotters out at the tournament, we know you're not going to shoot a 48 as a team. But what's it like, to put that team together? What does that look like? Who's in the foursome if you want to put together the best
guys
scramble?
In the program right now?
Guys in the program right now on the team. You need to put together the ultimate foursome scramble to go low at the course in Ann Arbor. Who gets the other three spots?
Man, that's a good question. I think, I played with Coach Lindsay, Chip Lindsay, who's the offensive coordinator. I think he's kind of the wily vet on the team. I'd have to include him. Solid player. Probably doesn't play as much as he wants to, but from what I saw, he can still turn through the ball, and a great chipper and putter. So first spot's going to him, and that's not just like the obligatory like he's my coach type thing. Like, he belongs on the team. Second spot, I think Zavada, to be honest with you. She, I think as a specialist, you should be a good golfer. I think that's kind of like almost a little bit of a given. And so I'm glad that he's a good golfer. There's definitely a correlation there with how well he can kick the ball. So he's getting the third spot. Fourth spot, I kind of want to say Peyton O'Leary, my roommate. He only picked the game up like 2.5 years ago, but he's shot in like 36 or 37 on the front nine at the U of M course a couple times. And
it's the way it goes, man.
He's a lefty.
That's the way it goes with these guys.
He's a lefty,
huh?
super good putter, like hits his irons incredibly well. Finally upgraded his driver this year to kind of a newer driver, not his grandpa's old driver. So hits it like 30 yards further. And I think he's a ball player. You name the sport, he'll figure out how to do it, and he's figured out golf, and he's got the bug like I have. And so I think that's a good four. I think we could go pretty low with that group.
What I love about the game of golf is it does bring together people who might not otherwise have a chance to connect. Or, that day we were out at TPC Michigan, we saw Ron Harper and Anderson Hunt and all these basketball guys. It was just like, I get to meet you and play with you. Like, the game of golf is something I love about how it brings people together, not just through golf, but also through being a quarterback at Michigan. Who's like some of the most random people that you've met or you've connected with or maybe been starstruck by when they've come to talk to the team?
Oh, that's a great question. Michael Phelps, probably number one. He was just incredible the way he talked about his journey, his work ethic, his discipline, all that stuff. That was awesome. Like, totally like locked in, and every moment, every word he said, trying to write down as much as I could about the things that he was doing first. Had Jeter come last fall, and so got the opportunity to meet him and actually spend a little time with him, kind of one-on-one as part of something that we were doing, and that was really cool. So him too, and it's funny, I don't think either of them ever took a class at Michigan, but they're both kind of tied to the university, which I think is funny. So we'll, Michigan men, both of them for sure.
You're talking to a super sophomore over here who's still got some outstanding credits. So, working on that honorary degree.
There
so
we go.
I get it.
I guess you guys got to get invited back to do the commencement because Jeter, picked up the degree that way. So hopefully we can work that in somehow. But, so I'd say those two. And then obviously, Desmond Howard came last week, but he's kind of always around the facility. So not as starstruck by him, even though he is a legend for sure.
Sure.
And actually, was at the Charles Woodson's event on Main I think in June, and which is a great event. Do a lot for Mott Children's Hospital, and actually got a chance to sit down with Brian Greasy for like 30 minutes and just talking. He was obviously watched all of our games this year and keeps tabs on what we do. And him being the quarterback's coach for the 49ers just had a unique perspective, and really gave me some great insights on just kind of how he saw me and what he saw I could keep improving at, things that he thought I did well. And, you don't listen to the outside noise for the most part. Most people don't really don't understand what it takes to play the position, but he understands it. And, he gave me some both good things that he thought I could improve on, and also kind of made me feel a little bit better about obviously a season that I had some regrets about it, and obviously wanted some things back and wanted to be better in certain ways as an individually and as a team. So that was really beneficial for me personally as a quarterback, and he's a guy who's been through it here and been through the ringer, and obviously he's coaching at an elite level now. So I'd say him too for sure.
Well, that's the thing, man. That's the thing about putting on the Block M and playing for the Wolverines and being a Michigan man is, I mean, you just mentioned Michael Phelps and Derek Jeter and Greasy and Desmond Howard and Charles Woodson, like all these guys, like legends across sports and Olympic champions and Heisman Trophy winners. And I would imagine you've picked up some leadership tips over the years from just being a Michigan guy yourself. And I don't know, what advice would you have to that, a freshman who's coming into a guy like Bryce Underwood, who's coming into the program now, just about leadership and about what it means to truly be a Michigan man?
Yeah, I think the Michigan man, that's actually something Jake Butt talked about, another guy talked about with us, a couple weeks ago, or couple days ago, actually. Sorry, fall camp, the days are running together for me, but talked about of being a Michigan man. And I think it's just trying to be the best version of yourself in every phase of your life, whether that's what you do at Schembecker Hall, every phase of the facility, whether it's nutrition, whether it's weightlifting, whether it's taking care of your body, whether it's watching film, whether it's what you actually do on the practice field and in the games. And then going into your academics, being a great student, being a part of the community of Michigan and taking advantage of everything this community has to offer outside of the football. And then just being a man of respect and integrity. And I think, you can't master all those at once, but you have things along your journey at Michigan. No one's journey is just straight up, right? No one has the perfect high school experience, has the perfect college experience, has the plays perfect in every single game, wins the Heisman, wins a Natty, goes to the NFL as the number one pick, has every perfect season in the NFL, wins this, that doesn't happen to anybody. So you have to be able to take adversity on the chin. You have to be able to accept the peaks and the valleys on the road to where you want to go, and accepting those with grace and as not as losses, but as learning opportunities is really important. And I think that's something I've learned through my journey is kind of each moment is an independent event. There's no bearing on the last and no bearing on the next. And that's applied out whether I was in high school and going through what I went through in high school, or when I got to Michigan and went through the trials and tribulations of trying to reach my goals as the starting quarterback in Michigan. And then I became the starter, and I still didn't have it all figured out. And then you end the year and you tear your ACL and feel like you got to restart all over again. So, but it truly is a thing of each moment is an independent event, and you got to decide in that moment of who you're going to be. And if you can decide to be a Michigan man in each of those moments and have integrity and learn from every single one and enjoy the good ones and learn from the bad ones, then you'll set yourself up for when you look back on it, it's on the rise. And I believe in that very strongly over my experience here. And I think as a team going into the season, I believe in that really strongly for this team. And not every practice has been perfect as an offense, as a defense, but we've continued to get better. And I think the same thing is going to happen as the season comes. So a little long-winded, but I believe in that wholeheartedly.
No, well said, man. Wise beyond your years, no doubt. Hey, man, I'm really happy for you that you're continuing on your path and your journey and you're taking it head on. And I really appreciate you spending some time with us here at the lab. Last question for you. This show is about, the NIL space and obviously providing a platform for the student athletes to tell their stories and get to know them a little better. For outsiders looking in, what is it like to navigate NIL in 2025 as a college athlete for a big time program like Michigan?
Yeah, I can't speak to any other school other than Michigan, but I think Michigan does it right. And people say, oh, does it ruin the integrity? Does it ruin the locker room? Do guys not like each other? Are guys pocket watching this and that? Has the money changed this program? And, I came in as a freshman and NIL was just getting figured out, and Hutch, Aiden was, I don't even know how much money he made that year, but not enough to buy a new car. He drove a 2-door Jeep around the whole year. Actually, he drove his moped around most of the year. He left the Jeep in the parking lot at Chem. So, and obviously now things have obviously changed where a guy like that could afford a new car in today's new environment, for sure. But I would say you wouldn't be able to notice a difference here at Michigan. It's a really incredible opportunity for guys to, really take advantage of their worth, because we do have value as student athletes at a prestigious, high level blue blood program such as Michigan, and a school that's competing for national titles every single year. And so I think, we deserve that opportunity. And I think Michigan's done a great job and Champion Circle and everyone involved has done a great job of giving us that opportunity and also ensuring that we keep the main thing. And so I think it's been a blessing for me to be a part of it. And I think, Champion Circle does incredible things to make sure that we're taken care of, but at the same time that, this program and the fact that we're all trying to be Michigan men and the type of people that Coach Moore brings in every single year are guys who want to be Michigan men and do it for the Block M and wearing the wig helmet with pride. So, yeah.
Let's talk some class real quick. What are you studying? What are your classes? Are you taking anime like I did, the history of Japanese anime? I took TV. I took TV shows in the 80s when I was there. That was a great class. What are you taking this year? I
just graduated from the business school, so that's done. And kind of figuring out my fall schedule for now. But to be a graduate of the University of Michigan, have the diploma, especially from an incredible world-class institution like Ross, was a big part of me also coming to Michigan, and to finish that out was pretty awesome. So grateful to Coach Harbaugh when he recruited me for making sure I could get in there and be around some of the smartest kids that I've ever met. So that was really awesome.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, wishing you nothing but success. Look forward to catching up on campus, hitting the golf ball again soon, and of course seeing you play some more football, man. Best of luck this season with Team 146. Stay in touch, all right?
Great. Thanks, bud. Appreciate it.
Good stuff. Davis Warren right here on the Lab. We appreciate everybody for hanging out with us. Be sure to subscribe, download, all that good stuff, and support Champ Media. You can stay locked in with the Michigan community. We'll see you guys next time. It's amazing to me how football players all have this kind of encyclopedic memory where they can just call up plays from a year ago or 2 years ago and they remember everything about it. It's really cool to kind of get that inside look at what the experience was for him on the field. And even that walkout, which has become such a thing online and on the internet, that famous walkout of the guys in Ohio, and it really felt like Michigan versus everybody. And he was there and he was part of it, and him telling us his experiences is pretty cool, and what we hope to bring you, the Michigan fan, more of here in the Lab. So shout out to Davis Warren. We appreciate him joining the show. And I know we talked about it in the interview a little bit. The kid's really good on the golf course. I mean, I've seen it. He can hit it. So I would love that super scramble he talked about putting together, that dream foursome. I would love to see what they could do on the Ann Arbor golf course one day. A tremendous golfer and just a tremendous dude. So we're all rooting for him, and I hope to see him back on the football field soon. That was my conversation with Davis Warren. This has been episode 1 of The Lab. Be sure to follow along, of course, at Champ Media. You can follow us on Instagram, on YouTube. Make sure you download the podcast, Champ Media. We're just getting started rolling this thing out. I'm really excited that The Lab could be a part of it. So until next week, my name is Ben Lyons. Go Blue.